Since I was very young, I have always had a high sensitivity in my nerves. Sometimes a simple half-hour walk would be enough to make my feet tingle for hours. I went to several doctors, did physical therapy, and changed my diet, but nothing seemed to really solve the problem. As time went by, things got worse. I started to feel small shocks in my fingers, especially at night. This really affected my sleep, as I would wake up several times with an uncomfortable and painful sensation. The accumulated fatigue began to impact my mood and productivity. It was then that, while researching natural solutions for nerve health, I came across NERVECALM. At first, I was a little skeptical, as I had tried other supplements in the past without success. But something about their approach caught my attention. The emphasis on natural ingredients and the detailed explanation of what caused the symptoms I felt. I decided to take a chance. I ordered 3 bottles to test it out calmly and give the treatment a real chance. The delivery was fast, and the material I received explained exactly how to use the product, which gave me even more confidence. I started taking 2 capsules a day, one in the morning and one at night. In the first week, I confess that I didn't notice much of a difference. But what surprised me was that, around the 10th day, I noticed that I was sleeping better. I no longer woke up with that tingling or numb feeling. In the second week, I went for a walk as usual, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel that burning sensation in my feet when I got home. It was as if my body was calmer, more balanced. I felt lighter both physically and mentally. Another detail I noticed was that my concentration improved. Perhaps because I was sleeping better and feeling less discomfort, my mind was clearer and I was able to focus more on work tasks. This was an unexpected but very welcome consequence. I continued taking the supplement every day without skipping it. The routine was simple, and this helped me maintain discipline. I also liked knowing that I was putting something natural in my body, without side effects or artificial substances. By the end of the first month, it was already clear that my quality of life had improved a lot. It wasn't just the pain that had diminished, but my entire demeanor was calmer. I was more patient, more willing, more balanced. I highly recommend NERVECALM. And to help those who came across my video, I'm going to leave the website where I placed my order securely in the first pinned comment. I started talking to friends about NERVECALM, especially those who also suffer from neuropathy or nerve discomfort. Many of them were also tired of relying solely on conventional medications and were open to more natural alternatives. One of the things that pleased me the most was knowing that the NERVECALM formula is based on scientific evidence. They explain on the website how each ingredient acts on the nervous system and what the expected effects are. This makes all the difference because it made me understand what was happening to my body. Furthermore, I noticed that the supplement did not cause any type of addiction or dependence. I did not feel the need to increase the dose, and even on days when for some reason I forgot to take it, my body did not react badly. It was a healthy balance. Another positive point was the cost benefit. Considering everything I spent on consultations, ointments, anti-inflammatories, and sleepless nights, NERVECALM proved to be an affordable option and much more effective in the long run. Today, after a few months of continuous use, I can safely say that I have found a real solution to a problem that has been bothering me for years. NERVECALM has not only alleviated my symptoms, but it has also given me back the freedom to live well. The peace of mind of knowing that I can sleep peacefully, walk without pain, and live my day with more energy is priceless. And that is why I make a point of sharing my experience with those who are also seeking relief and quality of life. After 3 months of using NERVECALM, I began to notice even more profound changes in my daily life. The discomfort that was once constant had become rare, and even when it did occur, it was much milder. The difference was clear. It was as if my nerves were regenerating little by little. I went back to doing some activities that I had put aside for fear of pain. Riding a bike, cooking for hours, typing for a long time on the computer. Before, all of these things would end with my fingers numb and throbbing. Now I can do all of these things without thinking twice. One of my greatest joys was being able to sleep through the night without interruptions. Something so simple but sorely missed. Getting a good night's sleep impacts everything. Your mood, your reasoning, your immunity, and even your relationships with the people around you. My family noticed the difference before I even said anything. I also noticed a drastic reduction in my anxiety. Before, the physical symptoms ended up generating a cycle of constant stress. The more pain I felt, the more anxious I became, and that only made everything worse. With my body calmer, my mind also began to slow down. Another thing worth mentioning is the confidence I gained in my own body. When you spend a lot of time living with pain or strange sensations, you start to lose confidence that your body can function normally. NERVECALM helped me restore that confidence. One of the ingredients that caught my attention the most was passion flower. I had always heard about it for anxiety, but I didn't know that it also had a calming effect on the peripheral nerves. Understanding this made me realize that the supplement is not just a superficial solution, but something that acts at the root of the problem. The same goes for vitamin B1 and magnesium. I had read before that deficiencies of these nutrients were associated with neurological problems, but I never imagined that their correct replacement, together with other ingredients, could bring such great relief. In addition to the calming effect, NERVECALM also gave me more energy. Unlike some medications that made me sleepy, this supplement gave me a balance. A relaxed body but an alert mind. This allowed me to go back to doing light exercise without feeling drained afterwards. I even received support from my doctor, who followed my progress and was impressed with the results. He analyzed the ingredients and said that many of them are used in natural medicine with good results. This gave me even more peace of mind to continue using it. I started recommending NERVECALM to other people in my family. My mother, who suffers from foot pain due to diabetic neuropathy, started using it too. Within a few weeks, she called me saying that she had slept pain-free for 3 nights in a row. That was something that touched me. My trust in the brand also increased. Whenever I had a question about its use or the formula, I could quickly contact support. The team is attentive, responds clearly, and shows that they care about each customer's experience. Another important point is that I did not experience any side effects. This was a concern at first, as I had problems with other supplements that caused heartburn or stomach pain. With NERVECALM, the experience was smooth from start to finish. I am glad that I gave the product a chance. It is difficult to trust something new when you have tried everything, but this choice was worth every penny. Today I feel in control of my health, with more autonomy and confidence. Little by little, I started getting back into my routine. I started going out more, making plans for short trips, and even accepting invitations that I had previously declined for fear of not being able to cope physically. The feeling of freedom is indescribable. My advice to anyone reading this who suffers from pain, tingling, or any other discomfort in their nerves is simple. Give NERVECALM a chance. Use it with discipline, observe your body, and monitor the changes. If it worked so well for me, I believe it can help many other people too. One of the first things that surprised me positively was the purchase process. The website was clear, well-structured, and explained all the benefits of the product in an accessible way. There were no miracle promises, but rather explanations based on science and real accounts from other users. This made me feel serious. The payment was made safely and quickly. A few minutes later, I received confirmation by email with all the details of my order. This gave me peace of mind, as I had already made purchases on websites before that took days just to confirm the transaction. I was also pleased with the delivery time. The product arrived ahead of schedule, well packaged with all the bottles intact. The packaging is discreet, and inside it came a small manual with instructions on how to get the most out of the supplement. These details make a big difference. On the first day of use, I followed the recommendations exactly. Take one capsule in the morning and another at night with plenty of water. This ended up fitting in very well with my routine. I have never liked complicated supplements or those that require rigid schedules, and NERVECALM is practical in this regard. Over time, this small routine became a habit that I enjoyed. It was like a commitment to myself, to take care of my health without relying exclusively on traditional medicines that only mask the symptoms. I wanted to treat the cause, and little by little I felt that I was succeeding. One thing that caught my attention was how NERVECALM does not interfere with other medications. I take medication for high blood pressure, and at no time was there any negative interaction. This gave me more confidence to continue using it continuously. Over the months, what impressed me most was the consistency of the results. There was no rebound effect, as happens with other treatments. The symptoms did not return with force after a while. On the contrary, each week brought an improvement, even if subtle, that added to the previous progress. I also noticed that the product has very good manufacturing quality. The capsule is easy to swallow without a bitter taste, and the bottle has a good seal. These small details show that the company really cares about the customer experience from start to finish. In addition to the physical improvement, I began to notice emotional changes. As my general health was improving, my mood also improved. I stopped feeling limited, let go of that constant fear of getting worse, and began to allow myself to live with more lightness and hope. I also really liked being able to follow the information about the ingredients. The website explained what each compound in the supplement is for. This helped me understand what was happening in my body and why the combination worked so well. For example, vitamin B12 helps with nerve regeneration, magnesium reduces muscle spasms and tension, and chamomile acts as a natural relaxant. Knowing this gave me the feeling that I was taking something functional and not just another pill. The company's support also deserves praise. On one occasion, I had a question about the difference between the available packages and contacted them. The answer came the same day with attention, politeness, and clarity. This type of service reinforces confidence in the product. At the end of the third month, I decided to renew my stock. I bought the package with 6 bottles to ensure the continuity of the treatment. The cost-benefit of this kit is excellent, especially considering everything that NERVECALM has provided me so far. Today, if someone asks me if it is worth trying, my answer is immediate. Yes, it is very much worth it. But I also recommend patience and commitment. The supplement is not a magic pill. It needs consistency to work, and when you allow it time, the results appear. Seeing my quality of life restored was something transformative. NERVECALM not only relieved my physical symptoms, but also gave me back my peace of mind and the freedom to live without fear of pain. That's why I continued to use it, taking care of my health with awareness and hope. As time went by, I began to reflect on how much my life had changed since I started using NERVECALM. What started as a desperate attempt to find some relief ended up becoming a new lifestyle, lighter, more balanced, and above all, more hopeful. The small daily achievements became very valuable to me. Simple things like getting out of bed without feeling that burning sensation in my legs or being able to hold a glass for a long time without my hands tingling became personal victories. And with each new achievement, my confidence grew. My relationships also improved. I was less irritable, less reactive. The constant pain used to make me impatient and moody. Now, with my body calmer, my mind was also at peace. I was able to reconnect with my family in a more genuine and present way. My children noticed the difference. One day, my youngest son told me he was happy because I was smiling more. That touched me deeply. Sometimes we don't realize how much silent suffering affects those around us. And seeing this reflected in my family was moving. I also realized that I was starting to dream again. For a long time, my mind was so caught up in the pain and the routine of trying to survive that I had simply stopped making plans. With the relief came the desire to start planning for the future again, thinking about trips, personal projects, and even studying something new. At work, my performance improved significantly. I was more focused, less tired, and I could stay focused for longer. This brought me recognition and even new opportunities. Something that seemed distant was now a reality. I started walking in the late afternoon. Nothing excessive, but enough to move my body, breathe fresh air, and enjoy the feeling of being alive. Before, these walks ended with tingling feet. Now they end with a sense of accomplishment. And even though I started all of this because of nerve pain, the positive effects spread to other areas of my health. I started eating better, drinking more water, and taking care of my body with more care. NERVECALM was the starting point. I also want to emphasize that I never felt cheated at any time. There were no absurd promises or false illusions. What the product delivers is the result of a thoughtful formula, based on natural and well-studied ingredients. And the results speak for themselves. I once again believed that it is possible to live a quality life, even after years of dealing with physical limitations. And I sincerely believe that if more people knew about this supplement, many lives could be transformed like mine was. Some friends asked me if I still use NERVECALM even after so many months. The answer is yes. I understand that taking care of the nervous system is ongoing, especially for those who have a history of neuropathy. So, continuing to use it gives me security and stability. And with each new capsule, I feel like I'm investing in myself, in my peace, in my energy. It's not just a supplement. It's a way of honoring everything I've experienced and everything I still want to experience. Today, when I look back and remember the sleepless nights, the feeling of helplessness, the fear of things getting worse, I realize how much I've evolved. And it all started with a choice. A simple but courageous decision to try something new. That's why my testimony is also an invitation. If you're suffering from symptoms of your nerves, if you've tried other things without success, if you feel like you're losing control of your own body, maybe it's time to give NERVECALM a try. I'm not saying it will be an immediate miracle, but with discipline and patience, it can be the beginning of your turnaround. Just like it was for me. Today I can say that I have my life back. And that's no exaggeration. I really felt trapped inside a body that didn't respond like it used to. The pain, the discomfort, the insecurity, all of this had become an invisible prison. But over time, using NERVECALM, I began to free myself. It is important to understand that each organism is unique. Results may vary, yes. But what I discovered in this process is that, with patience and consistency, something that seemed hopeless began to change. The secret is to persist even when changes are slow. Many people give up too soon. They take it for a week, see no results, and stop. But true transformation happens over time. In my case, it was around the third week that I began to feel the first signs of improvement. From then on, everything began to consolidate. Knowing that NERVECALM is made with natural ingredients gave me even more peace of mind. I have never been in favor of overloading the body with unnecessary chemicals. And having a supplement available that works at the root of the problem without causing side effects is something rare these days. Another thing that touched me deeply was realizing that I was not alone. When I started reading other people's stories on the site, I saw that there was a community of people going through the same struggles. That gave me strength. And that's why I decided to write my own testimonial too. If you've come this far reading every line of my story, it's probably because you're going through something similar to what I went through. And I want you to know that there is a way out. There is an alternative that can change the way you face your days. I'm not an expert, I'm not a doctor, and I wasn't paid to say that. I'm just an ordinary person who, after trying everything, found hope in NERVECALM that came true. And if it worked for me, it can work for you too. Over the past few months, I've learned to respect my body, to listen to its signals, to take care of myself more consciously. And NERVECALM has been a fundamental part of this self-care journey. A silent ally that little by little has given me back what I had lost. Seeing my health improve has given me the courage to help others too. Today I recommend the product to friends, family, and people I meet in online groups. I do so with a clear heart because I know I am recommending something that really makes a difference. I still get emotional when I think about how much I suffered. There were difficult nights, long days, moments of despair. But it was also those moments that showed me the strength I had inside me. A strength that just needed the right push to blossom. If you are in doubt, I understand. I have been there. But sometimes all we need is to take the first step. Allow ourselves to try something new. Open a small gap for hope to enter. Don't wait for the pain to completely dominate you. Don't accept living limited, trapped inside a body that doesn't respond. There is something that can help, and you deserve to live without this constant suffering. You deserve to sleep better, wake up feeling energetic, walk without fear, work without pain, hug those you love without restrictions. You deserve to be who you were, or even better than before. And if this testimony touches at least one person and helps them change their life like I changed mine, it was worth sharing all of this. Because in the end, what matters is not just relieving pain. It's recovering freedom, joy, life. It's not easy to end this story because it was much more than just telling an experience with a supplement. It was reliving an intense process, remembering the pain, the insecurity, the sleepless nights. But it was also remembering overcoming, the courage to try, and the gratitude for having found a light at the end of the tunnel. When it all started, I would never have imagined that a simple step, opening a page on the internet and reading about something called NERVECALM, could change so much. But that's when the change began. Discreetly. Without miraculous promises. Just with one proposal. Take care of your nerves naturally. It's hard to explain what it's like to live with constant pain to someone who's never been through it. But if you've ever felt your feet burning, your hands tingling, or that feeling that something is wrong inside your own body, then you understand what I'm saying. My idea here was never to convince anyone of anything, but rather to share a real story, to show that there is hope, and that, sometimes, the answer lies in simple, natural, and accessible things that just need a chance to work. What I found in NERVECALM was more than relief. It was a reunion with myself. I started to smile lightly again. I started to walk without fear. I started to sleep for real. I started to live, and that's priceless. If you feel like you've reached your limit, that you've tried everything and nothing has helped, maybe it's time to listen to a new voice. A voice that doesn't shout promises but whispers possibilities. Because sometimes that's what we need. I'm not better than anyone else for having managed to improve. I just gave something new a chance. I did it for myself, for my health, for my peace. If something in this story spoke to you, if you saw yourself in some part of it, maybe it's worth checking out the same page I found that night of doubts. That's where it all started for me. I left the link there in the first comment in case you want to take a look at it later. Read it carefully, read the testimonials, understand the ingredients, and most importantly, listen to your body. It might be asking you for exactly that. Don't be afraid to try. Sometimes what seems like just one more attempt may be the last one you'll ever need. I'm rooting for you, because I know how hard it is. And I also know how worthwhile it is when we finally find a path that works.